You know, there's some strange characters in our country today. Uh, a crackhead just came up. Just I don't even know what to say about this country. This country just it's something different about this country now that it's just unbelievable. But anyway, we have an individual in the White House right now that is doing everything else instead of running this country like a president should be. And you people are falling in for the smoke and mirror deployment or tactic that he's trying to keep you all off basis of what is really going on in this country today and the corruption that is taking place under his administration. And I'm to the point right now. Let me get this straight, because if you go back and look at my recordings, I like Donald Trump, and I tell people this because he's a president that's going to wake you up. And if you don't get woke up, you're never going to be woke. And that's what I like about him, because I know this is the kind of foolishness he was going to employ in when he got back into office. And it shows corruption 101. Now he's down there messing with the Smithsonian. What does he have to do with the Smithsonian? And another thing, deployment within 30 days. He even got the Border Patrol or Customs in Washington, D.C. Get the fuck out of here, man. Come on. Real people ain't even giving a fuck about what Donald Trump talking about. It's only you cronies who fall for this kind of foolishness that believe in this fool. And that's why they protesting. My thing is this is a 30-day thing. What the fuck are you going to do in 30 days? Are you stopping murderers? Are you stopping drug traffickers? Are you stopping crackheads, drug dealers, or what? No, you're not. You're not stopping none of that. This is nothing but smoke and mirrors. And you people are falling into it instead of seeing the corruption that is taking place under Donald Trump's regime. All that stuff that's happening on Capitol Hill, that is being trying to divert it away from that. That's what he wants you to do with this foolishness he's peddling, him and Elon Musk. You guys want to know how to put a stop to this shit? Huh? Start boycotting. Start turning your Teslas back in. Start boycotting the federal government. And you'll put a stop to this shit. This is how you do it. You federal workers, stop going to work. You ones that work in D.C., stop going to work. This is how you stop. You ain't got protesting. They don't give a fuck about you protesting. You know how you want to hurt them? Boycott them. Boycott the federal government and say we're not going to do it. And the thing about it is this, these officers that they're putting out there, the National Guard, you're not exempt from the shit Donald Trump is finna put on American people. I'm just letting you know that. You think you're doing an honorable thing? You're not. You're not. You know, but again, you got to lay all this shit at the doorstep of the mayor and the chief of police and the government of the District of Columbia, because this was written on the wall. DC government did a hands off on these juveniles. And you see what kind of shit starts when you don't enforce shit? Laws have already been implemented on criminal activity. But because these corrupt individuals in the District of Columbia did a hands off on them, Donald Trump used that to his advantage. Instead of making laws to separate lawyers from wards of the court and implementing honorable public defenders and state attorneys to go after these juveniles and to to give them time, incarcerate them, it was hands off. Let me give y'all a good example about something. You see what I got? It's the First Amendment. You have a right to bear arms. Now, when you use that arms, the police and the government under the supreme law can get involved in that to make sure you use that arms the right way. Any of these juveniles who pull a gun in a carjacking or a robbery, they should automatically get 5 years. That should be mandatory upon using these firearms in a commission of a crime. Before you even go into a courtroom, you should already know you finna get 5 years. Okay? And there should be a year for every ammo that's in that arms in the commission of that crime. That should be mandatory. That should be a law across the country. But because you rich people sit around and it ain't about that, it's about keeping a certain ethnic group down. And now this shit don't got out of hand. Now you want to cry about it. Fuck y'all. That's how I feel about it. This shit ain't just come out the woodwork. This shit been going on for years. But now this shit don't got out of hand. Come on. Because one person got carjacked in D.C., you got a president and Elon Musk. You know how many people, and I tell people, go and look at the time Donald Trump was elected president to the time this clown got jacked in the wrong part of town. How many people across America was carjacked, was robbed, was shot, was killed? But he ain't deploying nobody in them areas. This a bunch of bullshit. And people need to call Donald Trump out for what it is. And I like the man. And that's why I'm calling him out. I like the man because he's going to wake America up to see how corrupt our government is. You know, you deploy all this shit because of one person get carjacked in D.C. Get the fuck out of here. Somebody talking about, well, they're going to send the Secret Service to you. Ain't gonna, my First Amendment right gives me a right to say the truth. People don't like to hear the truth. Fuck them. Fuck them. But as long as he in office, I'm applauding him because he's showing just how fucked up this country is. Because we got a clown, a lunatic in the office right now. And all these Secret Service people know it. All these federal officers know it. But the problem is this, they want to keep their job. But the sad part about it is this. That's what the Redcoat said. That's what the Redcoat says. And you see how that shit worked out. This country is in serious trouble. And only way we put this country back together is that we put the supreme law of this country first. All this other bullshit that the executive orders, that shit just come on. Look at the woman that he put over the District of Columbia Police Department. This lily white mushroom or marshmallow. You can look at her and tell her she ain't never dealt in no criminal activity. But he don't put her over the White House. Come on, man. You could tell she ain't seen no crime nowhere. Nowhere. She sits in her office. That's why she's so white. Sits in her office and read books and statistics. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I'm telling y'all. Another thing they need to pass an executive order is that the president cannot appoint the director of the FBI or none of these federal law enforcement agencies, because when you appoint them, they're obligated to you. And that's what you got to learn to separate. They should be elected just like the president or governor or whatever. And everybody should have a 4-year term in our governments to get rid of all the old guard that's still sitting up in there. Nobody, the president should not be able to nominate anybody or appoint anybody in law enforcement in our government. NSA, the top general, or the director of the FBI, CIA, even the Secret Service, because they're obligated to him. He could be over them, but he's not the one that put them there. So therefore, he can't fire them if they go after him doing something wrong. And that's what the feds should be doing, going after Donald Trump. Because this shit Donald Trump doing is criminal. It's criminal. Under the supreme law of this country. Now, don't get me wrong. He got a right to run D.C. because D.C. corrupt. D.C., this shit was written on the wall 4 years ago with Bowser. You know, Bowser made it very clear she didn't want law enforcement to go after these juveniles. And you see what happened? Go back and look at some of the news shit and some of the reports. It was hands off these juveniles unless they committed a heinous crime. But this is a different kind of crime by these juveniles now. But it was orchestrated by the District of Columbia. I know y'all ain't got to listen to me. You ain't got to, you know, I hear a lot of these cronies leaving remarks, but go back and look at the history. Go back and look at it for yourself. You know? And then he's talking about the police force. Like I say, and I keep saying this, and I applaud these guys, because if the government ain't gonna keep you in check, I ain't got to worry about it. I know a lot of these, the majority of some of these guys are thugs that's wearing that uniform, calling themselves police officers. And a lot of the people in the neighborhood know them. So that's why they don't respect them. Because they know they thugs too. But get yours. And that's what I tell every American. Get yours. Because in this country today, in America, every rich people got theirs. And they didn't get theirs the legal way. And I tell immigrants, if you think you're going to come into this country and follow the rules, you've already lost in America. You've already lost. If you come in here talking about you're going to follow the rules of America. Because the rich people don't even follow the rules of America. So if they're not going to do it, why should you do it? The only way we bring this country, and like my man Donald Trump say, make America great again, we got to strip it and start over and follow the supreme law of this country and implement it to the point where nobody's immune from it. We got to separate the lawyers from the judges. We got to start firing these judges who got their eyes wide open and have become prostitute to the judicial system. We got to follow the supreme law of this country. We got to get lawyers who are honorable. And when they're not honorable, we strip them of their bar license where they can't practice law anymore. Same thing with police officers. We got to strip them. You could have a full police brigade again if they strip the police and hold them accountable for their actions. And that includes these lieutenants, sergeants, chief of police. Come on. This buddy system, like what goes on in the District of Columbia, one hand washes the other. One insane person hires another insane person, a delusional person. Come on. We need some people who are going to take the supreme law and make that their Bible to get this country back in the order that it is. Because these people have waged war on the supreme law of this country, and they're traitors pursuant to the supreme law of this country. They are traitors. And that's what's going on in this country today. I'm showing this shirt. This is one of our shirts we're putting out there. I'm just showing you some t-shirts. We're giving them away. We're not even selling them or nothing. I tell people on my platform, I'm not looking for money. I don't need sell no merch. I'm not looking. This is to wake people up and let them understand the supreme law of this country. And this is what we got to do. You know, I hear a lot of people leaving comments talking about I'm harassing the police. You can't harass people in public office. You can't. And I'm not harassing nobody. I'm cutting the camera on, showing what is going on in this country today. And we got these lackeys, bootlickers, ass kissers, deep throaters out here going along with the same shit that the Jewish people went when the neo-Nazis came and the redcoats came to the New World. History is always going to repeat itself, y'all. Whether you believe it or not, you're going to hear it here first. You're going to hear it here first. Because this was already written on the wall. And it's going to get worse. I heard, I think it was a congressman talking about Donald Trump down there now trying to rewrite history. What does the president of the United States got to do with our history? Nothing. Nothing. His job is to run this country, not try to change history. And that's what he's trying to do. He's smoke and mirror, y'all, to keep you off of this criminal activity he's involved in, him and Elon Musk is involved in, up there on the Capitol. And y'all better open your eyes. Open your eyes. And yeah, I like Donald Trump. And I like Donald Trump because he's a tool to open up America's eyes. And a lot of people, since Donald Trump has been in office, even the first time, have opened up their eyes. And that is a good thing, y'all. These people have waged war on the supreme law of this country. And the supreme law in this country is the Constitution. And y'all better start reading it. Go to your library. See how many books are on the Constitution now in your libraries. They're trying to strip you of all that. Donald Trump is trying to take control of the Smithsonian. And I guarantee you, one of the things he's going to try to take out of that Smithsonian is the supreme law of this country. The Constitution. The Bill of Rights. You can bank on it. I'm telling you here now. This is what this is all about. People talking about, oh, he's going to be reelected. Donald Trump, under the supreme law, this is it for him. He can't go anymore on the supreme law of this country. And I'm telling y'all right now, if he tries, there will be a war over here in the United States. Because people ain't going to go for that. That will surely show you. If this ain't showed you, wait for Donald Trump and Elon Musk to try to run again for president of the United States. And you're hearing it here first. That's why he's trying to regulate D.C., regulate the Smithsonian, and he's going to go in there and he's going to try to remove the supreme law of this country and rewrite it. What his ancestors wrote. That's right. Y'all ancestors, you know, not one black person signed that Constitution or Bill of Rights, but you can't even follow your own. This is what happens when corrupt people take control of shit. And you people are falling for it. You're being diverted from the real thing that's going on up there in Washington, D.C. You want to protest? Go ahead. They don't care nothing about you protesting. Start boycotting. Calling in sick. If I ran Washington, D.C., listen to me, and this is my opinion, and Donald Trump did this executive order telling me he taking over D.C. for 30 days, I will give everybody a vacation. Y'all go take a vacation for 30 days. Let Washington, D.C. run it. Fuck them. Nobody go to work. Nobody attends any of the federal stuff. Boycott shit. That'll hurt them more. Truck drivers, stop running shit up and down the coast. Trains, stop running shit up and down the coast. That's how you listen. Transportation in America runs this country. And if you don't believe me, let them shut down. What about the truckers back in the history? When they did the trucker strike, motherfuckers woke up. And that's what you got to do, all that protesting shit? Nah. Boycott shit. And everybody got to be on the same accord. Everybody. Every free citizen got to be on the same accord. Yeah, you're going to have some bootlickers, some deep throaters going to go to work, do this. Let them. But we outweigh those bootlickers and ass kissers. But they just like to keep shit going so you can be diverted from what is really going on in this country. It's just like this immigration shit. Oh, we gonna get all the people out of the country. Well, let me ask you a question. If that's the case, why is customs and the border people in the District of Columbia instead of on the borders doing what they need to do, and they down here in D.C. doing this shit? Their job is on the border. They have crossed over into their jurisdiction, sticking their nose into something they ain't got no business sticking their nose into. And this is what I'm saying. If I was president of the United States, there will be lines drawn on the judicial thing which cannot be crossed. And one of them is this jurisdiction. If you got hired as a border patrol, you gonna stay as a border patrol. If you got hired as a local police officer, you gonna stay as a local police officer. And federal, you gonna stay as a federal officer. And what I mean by that is, okay, if a crime comes across, you gonna work hand in hand with that agency, but you're not gonna run it like they're doing in DC. Yeah, DC, you fucked up. You fucked up. Because you kept electing this crony into office and listening to this foolishness, which I've been telling people a long time ago. The District of Columbia is a federal park. It's owned by the people. Congress bought it, part of it from Maryland, part of it from Virginia, and they made it into a federal park. And they gave this fake government some kind of authority to do certain things in the District of Columbia. And when you get a corrupt individual like we got now in the office, he can take it away anytime he wants to. You will never become a state. Go and read what the supreme law of this country states. You can never become a state. You're a federal park. A federal park can never become a state. And anybody that does make it a state, they're corrupt and crooked. And they have waged war on the supreme law of this country, stating that a federal park can never become a state. So you can never have statehood. Even when this mayor says that bullshit, they use Holmesley for years to try to boo that shit. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. And anybody that makes it they're corrupt to the core. And Democrats know this. So I don't know why y'all sitting here talking about Democrat, Republican. This is not about Democrats or Republicans no more, people. It's about rich and poor. It ain't even about black and white no more. It's about rich and poor. That's what this is about now in America. And for all you people who are delusional, who think it is Republican, Democrats, Independent, you're delusional. Or you people who think it's about white, black, yellow, Chinese, Spanish, Ethiopian, you're delusional. This is about black and white. And I don't care if you wear that police uniform. I don't care if you work for the FBI, the federal government, or whatever. You are not immune to rich people's corruption. I'm telling y'all right now, if we had a law in place where the individual who is elected president could not appoint the director of the FBI, director of the CIA, Secret Service, whatever, none of this shit right here would be going on. None of it. Unless he's corrupt. And that's what's going on. We allow these people to direct these people and put them in the office. They're obligated to whoever put them in the office to keep them there. Yeah, the president may be over them and they have to report to him. But they're not obligated to him. They're obligated to the people who elected them to be placed in that director's seat. And we will have a better country if this will go on. But because we have corrupt people now running our government across the United States, it ain't just with Donald Trump. I see a lot of them now bucking. But this is what happens when you have a corrupt government. And believe me, this is a disease, I tell people, in the United States. And it's going to spread unless we take it to the doctor and let them work on this disease to cure it. And how we cure it is the people got to take control of their government. I'm not talking about go down here and burn up nothing. I'm not talking about, we got to start boycotting and start really listening to what people are saying when they want to get put into office. That's all I'm saying. Because if you go back and you listen to what Donald Trump said to get into office, he's doing everything he said he was going to do. And more is coming. I would tell you what it's going to be, but I tell people, a few people I've told so they'll know I don't be bullshitting around. I listen very closely to what Mr. Trump is saying. Donald Trump, when I requested and voted him into office or elected him into office and applauded him to be in office, were to keep Russia, China, and these other countries off the Americans' ass. Because if Harris would have got in there, I truly believe one of these countries would have tried us. But I already knew this was going to happen from Donald Trump. And he ain't done yet. I knew he was going to pick a rich person to be with him, Elon Musk. And all you people who ride around in these Teslas and doing business with Elon Musk's business, boycott that shit. You want to put a stop to this shit? Boycott that shit. Boycott the Trump hotels. Nobody go visit the Trump hotel. This is how you put a stop to this shit. You know? Any dealings that Donald Trump has or his family members have, boycott that shit. Anything Elon Musk them have, boycott. You know how to hurt somebody? That's how you hurt them. Go into their pockets. Take the finances away from them. And that's how you put a stop to people who are doing corrupt shit. You know, that's what you do with corrupt people. Corrupt people want to be rich. They want that power. They want the funds to be rich. And the only way you do it is by getting that money. Take that money away from them. Take them funds away from them. Take that steak, that caviar. Give them bologna meat. Oodles and noodles. Cup of soup. And they can't do what they're doing. They can't keep the corruption up. And I'm finna leave y'all because I try to explain this to y'all free people, but some of y'all really don't listen. Nothing that is happening in Washington, D.C. gonna stop the crime that is in Washington, D.C. You know how you stop that crime? Separate the lawyers from being wards of the court. They stand on their own feet. Get honorable judges running the court system who will start implementing real law on these people. The law is already on the books. So, and don't have mayors, chief of police dictating the judicial system in America. The laws were written for a reason, and it's up to honorable lawyers, honorable judges to enforce the law and make Lady Justice blind again, because Lady Justice in America has become a whore. She sells herself off to the highest bidder, all the way up to the top courts in America. Those courts should have a limit on being judges. They should not be able to sit in there a lifetime, because they could easily be corrupted. Give each judge an 8-year term, and then they're replaced by another group of honorable judges who have showed that they're honorable through the judicial system. All right, people, I'm gonna leave y'all alone till the next time. I had to put this out here because I got some more filming to do out here, showing y'all corruption at its finest. But hey, y'all hear it here first. More to come if y'all don't start standing together. And I mean really standing together. And you bootlickers, ass kissers, and deep throaters, keep up with the comments. You know, at first I was gonna bleep y'all off, but somebody told me this is how you get your ratings up when they comment on your platform. So all y'all keep your comments up. I need them comments. I ain't gonna ask you to subscribe, but I'm gonna tell you, keep the comments up. I don't even read them unless I'm bored or sitting around doing nothing. But keep the comments up. Let America see who you are, what you're about, and we are for change in this country, because this country is gonna change. And you might not like the way it's gonna change, but sometimes you gotta start from the bottom and rebuild it. But you gotta tear everything down to rebuild it. And that's what's coming, y'all. So keep it up. And I truly believe you gotta read that Second Amendment and start arming yourselves to protect yourself. Because the people we put in to position to protect you and serve you, they're not doing that. They come after the fact. And this is how you stop coming after the fact where you still walking around. You know? And if you don't believe me about Washington, go back and look at some of the shit about how your mayor and your chief of police hands off on the juveniles in Washington, D.C. And now we got a whole different kind of crime going on in the District of Columbia, y'all, because these government officials said hands off. From the judges, from the lawyers, from the chief of police to the mayor. You commit a crime, your ass should be sitting up in a juvenile correctional facility. You commit adult crimes, your monkey ass should do adult time. And then you put a stop to this shit. You know, I'm not for the death penalty, but I'm sure leaning back toward that shit. You know, I prefer you to sit your ass in a correctional facility for the rest of your life and let my boys take care of you inside that correctional facility. You know, but we don't got soft even in the correctional facility. We giving them TVs, cable TVs, notebooks. I was running this country, all that shit would be out the door. Hard time mean hard time. You would think about coming back into one of my facilities or my country jail systems if I ran this country. Go and look at that shit called life. That's how you be. White and black uniforms out here breaking rocks, cleaning up the streets with shotguns over your head. But this is how corruption is, y'all. All right, I'm gonna leave y'all until next time. It's time for change, y'all. It is time for change in this country to make it great again. And the only way we're gonna make it great again is by we free people come together and start boycotting and stop all this talking about protests and walking down streets. They don't care nothing about that shit. They don't care nothing. You can do that. Rich white people don't care nothing about that. They sitting up in the office in the air conditioned unit, looking at y'all, laughing at y'all, talking about, oh, they out there protesting. Who gives a fuck if you what's that old saying black people love to say? No peace, no justice. Ain't nobody give a fuck about that shit. You can say that until you lose all your breath. You want to make change? Take that money away from these rich people. And how you do that? Boycott shit. Say I'm not gonna participate. You got a hotel named behind Donald Trump. You got a car, Elon Musk. Stop buying that shit. Find out everything Elon Musk is in. Stop buying it. Everything Donald Trump and his family involved in, don't buy. And take away their revenue, and you will see a different change in this country. You want to protest? Protest that shit. Boycott. I'm out of here, y'all. And to my man Donald Trump, keep it up, bruh. Keep it up. Because this is the only way we're going to wake this country up. When people start seeing how corrupt rich people are and that they don't give a fuck about the poor, keep it up, man. You know? And that's all I'm saying. I like Donald Trump. I liked him when he was first president. I like him now. You know, I used to watch him when he was on You're Fired, and he was the same person then on his TV show. And I say, if he look at how this man is doing this show, you know what he about. He's not a president. He's a businessman, a rich businessman, and that's how he's running this country, along with Elon Musk. This has nothing to do with being a president. This is rich people getting richer, poor getting poor, and manipulating the free people, just like he did on his TV show. All right, y'all. I'm Ivory. I'll get back with you when something else is need to be said. Later.